This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I'm Mark Martin. One student is dead, 8 others injured after a mass shooting at a charter school outside Denver, Colorado. Police say 2 students opened fire on their classmates, setting off a panic throughout the campus. The barrage of bullets erupted just after lunchtime at the STEM school Highlands Ranch. Investigators say the shooters, both students at the school, were reportedly armed with a handgun and other weapons. The school, which is home to some 1,800 students, grades K through 12, was put on lockdown as police went on the hunt for the shooters. Police say the suspects began firing in 2 separate locations. This man's son is one of the wounded.
A guy pulled I believe a pistol, I'm not sure, out of like guitar case and start to shoot.
As officers were arriving at the school, they could still hear gunshots, and as they were entering the school.
And CBN reporter Charlene Aaron has been following this story. She joins us now with more. Welcome, Charlene.
It's just so sad.
Yeah, horrible story. And I understand this school is not far from Columbine High School. Talk about that.
Talk about tragedy 20 years later. You know, it's amazing that the school is not very far from Columbine, which, you know, we know they just recently celebrated the 20-year anniversary of the Columbine massacre, where 13 students were killed. And so it's about 7 miles away from Columbine. So fresh, new wounds open in there. It's amazing.
What can you tell us about the suspects in the shooting?
2 of them, 18-year-old Devin Erickson, apparently had expressed hatred for Christians on his social media page. He basically said that he hated Christians who hated gays. And he had also posted in 2005 a flag, the rainbow flag, which represents the LGBT community. The second suspect is a juvenile who reportedly, according to a local station there in Denver, was transitioning from, as a transgender person, from female to male. So it's amazing to see what's happening with these 2 young people. Very tragic.
All right, Charlene Aaron, thanks so much for following this story for us. In other news, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is declaring case closed on the Mueller probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election. McConnell opened the Senate Tuesday with a speech discussing how the, quote, exhaustive investigation went on for 2 years and is now complete.
For 2 years, many of the president's opponents seemed to be hoping the worst conspiracy theories were actually true. They seemed to be hoping for a national crisis.
Despite the majority leader's proclamation, Democrats are pressing for further oversight of the White House and president's handling of the investigation. The Democrat-led House is pursuing a copy of the full unredacted report. Democrats on the House Judiciary plan to vote Wednesday to hold Attorney General Barr in contempt for not releasing a completely unredacted version of the Mueller report. Based on that report, Barr released a public summary stating there was no conspiracy between Trump's team and Russia in the 2016 election. But in a letter to Barr, Mueller made it clear the summary created public confusion. Barr is defending his actions, saying his summary was accurate. If Barr is held in contempt of Congress, it will only be the second time the nation's top law enforcement officer has been penalized by lawmakers in this way. FBI Director Chris Wray says he doesn't think the Trump campaign was spied on before the 2016 election.
Do you believe that they're engaging in spying when they're following FBI investigative policies and procedures?
Well, that's not the term I would use. Look, there are lots of people have different colloquial phrases. I believe that the FBI is engaged in investigative activity, and part of investigative activity includes surveillance activity.
Testifying before a Senate panel Tuesday, Wray broke from comments Attorney General Barr made last month when Barr told the same panel he believed spying did occur. Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp has signed legislation banning abortions once a fetal heartbeat can be detected. The law, if not blocked in courts, would take effect in 2020. Pro-life advocates are applauding the legislation, but pro-abortion activists are pledging to fight the law tooth and nail. If challenged and taken up to the Supreme Court, the law could overturn Roe v. Wade. Heartbeat abortion bans have been signed into law in Mississippi, Kentucky, and Ohio. More states are passing laws involving abortion than ever before. Some severely restrict the practice, while others seek to make it legal right up to birth. Many of these new laws are already in court. And as Paul Strand reports, that means the abortion issue could once again be decided by 9 Supreme Court justices.
There's a strange dichotomy going on. Some states, like Indiana, passing more and more measures to limit abortions.
From 1983 to 2010, states were only passing an average of 15 pro-life laws. Since 2010, that number's gone up to 57.
While other states are building a high wall around it to protect abortion. Mike Fichter, the head of Indiana's Right to Life, explains what's going on.
At this point, with Justice Kavanaugh now sitting on the court, any abortion-related bill that percolates up before the full court could be a vehicle to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Indiana lawmakers don't like to see their bills judged as unconstitutional, but if that means a Supreme Court hearing, it could be worth it.
We do think that a lot of these protected pro-life laws will receive a more sympathetic hearing with today's court than they received previously.
Kenneth Falk heads up the ACLU of Indiana.
Clearly, there's a legislative strategy to push as many challenges to Roe and as many abortions restrictions as possible.
Catholic University's Michael New says the percentage of Americans turning pro-life has gone up both in opinion and practice.
Since 1980, the U.S. abortion rates declined by 50%. That's a pretty substantial gain in a relatively short amount of time.
That could affect the Supreme Court justices.
Public opinion does have some impact on the way they rule. They don't want to consistently reach unpopular decisions that, nobody likes because they would lose legitimacy. So public opinion is something that I think many judges do consider. And I think that does bode well for the pro-life movement.
Both sides of the abortion debate are realizing Roe v. Wade is going to topple. Sooner or later, it's going to topple.
Some states seem in a panic that the Supreme Court might rule any abortions illegal.
You have states like New York that are trying to get ahead of the curve to say, we don't care what happens with Roe v. Wade. We're going to keep abortion fully legal in this state.
The Democratic Party has moved pretty aggressively to the left on these sanctity of life issues.
And on the other side,
we see really a surge in activism, especially in conservative states.
It's all just building into this huge crescendo that's bringing this issue front and center.
Constitutional law attorney Jenna Ellis points out Roe and the related case Planned Parenthood versus Casey didn't actually grant a right to abortion, but a right to make one's own health care choices.
And that right to privacy covers some abortions in some circumstances.
These new contested state laws deal with all sorts of different issues surrounding abortions. Can a baby be killed after its heartbeat can be detected?
We've seen 3 states pass these heartbeat bills that would protect unborn children after fetal heartbeats detected.
Other bills deal with when can the unborn feel pain? Is an embryo a person with the right to life that any other human enjoys? Can a baby be aborted simply because of its gender, race, or disability?
Questions that deal with what types and circumstances of pregnancies can a woman choose to get an abortion.
The ACLU's Falk says for pro-choice advocates, the court approving any restriction is a clear threat.
If you allow the state to say, no, we have an important reason to stop an abortion, then states can always articulate what they deem to be important reasons. It certainly is a threat to the existing rights to abortion that exist in America today.
About a third of the states are fighting to restrict the practice in various stages, while another group is against any restrictions, even for babies who survive an attempted abortion.
I think it's exposing how serious there is a rift in the culture on this issue. We even have to debate, should we give medical treatment to a baby fully born alive? And to see the United States Senate unable to even advance that legislation is really shocking.
At the extreme, some state legislatures have already passed laws that would immediately ban abortions if the court reverses Roe v. Wade, while several others are doing the exact opposite.
This huge groundswell is happening across the nation right now. I believe the Supreme Court is seeing this. They're realizing they've got to deal with this issue.
So could it be the day is nigh that pro-choice types have feared and pro-life forces have hoped and prayed for, a crescendo to the national battle over abortion? Maybe. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Indianapolis.
Turning now to Iran, President Hassan Rouhani says his country is quitting 2 parts of the nuclear deal. The announcement comes exactly 1 year since President Trump withdrew the U.S. from the landmark deal and issued crippling sanctions on the country. Rouhani says Iran will continue stockpiling uranium and heavy water, materials used in nuclear reactors, and he's giving a 60-day deadline to China and 4 European countries to strike a new deal. If U.S. sanctions aren't lifted and a new deal isn't made, Iran will restart construction on a nuclear reactor. The Pakistani woman who faced the death penalty for charges related to her Christian faith is out of Pakistan. Government officials in the country say Asia Bibi is headed to Canada. Bibi spent 8 years on death row for blasphemy charges. When Pakistan's Supreme Court overturned her conviction last year, radical Islamic groups rioted and threatened to kill her. She was placed in protective custody until her departure Wednesday. Coming up, the Jordanian woman compelled by Christ's love to reach those displaced by war and persecution in the Middle East.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I Wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Syrian government soldiers are intensifying their attacks on opposition forces in the rebel-held northwestern province of Idlib. The fighting has civilians fleeing the conflict zone. Many end up in nearby Jordan, where they join scores of Iraqi refugees. In today's World Beat episode, George Thomas introduces us to a Jordanian woman whose faith compels her to minister to those escaping the agonies of war.
Hello everyone, welcome to World Beat, where we show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it. Jordan is one of the countries most affected by ongoing crisis in Syria and Iraq. Since fighting erupted back in 2011, millions of Syrians fled their country, many of them finding safe haven in neighboring Jordan. Well, it is the same story in Iraq, where millions were forced to abandon their homes after decades of violence and recent attacks by ISIS. Many Iraqis also found refuge in Jordan. According to the most recent stats from the United Nations, the Hashemite Kingdom has the second highest share of refugees per capita in the world. Well, my next guest has a passion for reaching those who have fled their homelands, escaping war and persecution. Maran Maya Abu Jaber is founder and CEO of Al-Hadaf, a Jordanian non-governmental organization that's helping Iraqi refugees. Maran, welcome to the show. What does Al-Hadaf mean, and why did you start the organization?
Al-Hadaf means the purpose, because we believe that every child deserves a chance to live, learn, and grow. And I believe personally that every child, including the children in the Middle East, they deserve that chance to live, learn, and grow.
What are some of the practical things, Maran, that your organization is doing for those displaced by conflict?
What we do is we cover first, we do trauma workshops for the ISIS survivors. We do art therapy for the children, for the moms as well. And then we do English courses for the asylum seekers. And then we go into teaching them how to fish instead of giving them a fish. And we gather them with the school students from the community, so the community can see the ideology of terrorism, what it's doing to the families. And through that, we give them food packages wrapped as a present, and at the same time, we have a boutique for second-hand clothes. Everything is done with dignity and grace.
Maran, when you spend time with these refugees, do they ever talk about going back home one day to Iraq?
When I talk to them about returning to Iraq, they show me the pictures of their broken, exploded houses. They show me the scars from being hurt on the way to escape. They show me the pictures of memories and the identity that was stolen from them. So I stopped talking after that.
Talk a little bit, Maran, about the counseling and the trauma counseling that you're giving them, because you're trying to reestablish hope in their broken lives, right?
Yes, exactly. The moment the woman or a child speak their story, then the healing process starts. So what I do, I just sit there for sometimes months, just hold their hands and make sure that they feel safe. And then the healing process starts. That's what trauma workshops should be about.
You also have a heart for reaching orphans in Jordanian society. Tell us about this.
I was a Regent student 12 years ago, and I saw a video. I saw an orphan being beaten up by by the caregiver in the Jordanian orphanage. And the one who was taking the video was another orphan. This broke my heart, and I made up my mind that I will help that child for the rest of my life. And that's how I started learning and studying for 6 years, and just tried to tailor a curriculum alongside with the Orphan's Promise, just to help and reach out to the abandoned children in Jordan.
How can we pray for those displaced by conflict in Syria and Iraq?
That they will find a home away from home. They will find a place that respects them. They will find a place that they can find job opportunities. They'll find good schools for their children. They will feel safe again. They will find and gather their identity that was taken away from them.
And for the viewers who want to reach out and to partner with you, give us quickly the website for Al-Hadaf.
alhadaf.org. That's it.
That's pretty easy. Maran, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for what you're doing for the people of the Middle East.
Thank you for having me, and please keep praying for the whole area, for peace.
Absolutely. Amen. Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you, George.
You're welcome. Well, folks, that is it for today's edition of World Beat. Until next time, goodbye and God bless you. Now, back to NewsWatch.
Still ahead, recent earthquakes in the Philippines have left many homeless and in need of help. See how Operation Blessing is helping one farming community get back on their feet.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
No super falls, man. Come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I wills of God, the latest teaching from Pat Robertson.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
A series of recent earthquakes in the Philippines has left people there homeless and in need of help. Operation Blessing Philippines is in the disaster zone, bringing much-needed relief to the victims. Lucille Toulousan has the story.
When the 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck, Marites Romualdo quickly ran to her children to shield them from falling debris. In saving them, she suffered injuries as part of the ceiling fell on her.
I was shouting out to the Lord, "Lord, save us. Lord, help us." At that point, there's no one to turn to for help but the Lord. Our house was the fruit of my husband's years of hard work abroad. Now it's gone. But despite the loss, I am still thankful because we are all alive.
It's a miracle that Marites came out of this rubble alive after their ceiling collapsed on her. In this community, there are more than 200 families who lost their homes during the earthquake, and they are now living in makeshift tents. And their appeal is for food and water and much-needed supplies.
Marites belongs to an indigenous people group called Aitas. They live in the mountains where farming is their primary source of income. The earthquake forced most of them to abandon their farmlands.
Our root crops were destroyed because of the deep cracks on the fields. And the people are afraid landslides may happen when another earthquake strikes.
In desperate need of relief, help was slow given the mountainous region. Their hopes lifted when an Operation Blessing Philippines team came to their villages with food, rice and canned goods, mats and blankets. Operation Blessing also helped children overcome their earthquake experience.
We have several activities like singing and coloring where the children can express their feelings. Most of them are still afraid. We teach them that only Jesus can take away the fear in their hearts. He loves them and will never leave them.
Marites' daughter Sheila May is happy because she is no longer afraid. She understands what the rainbow in this picture symbolizes.
God loves me.
More than 600 families in the Aita villages received relief goods, prayer, and also heard the gospel. Operation Blessing plans to help more earthquake survivors by conducting medical missions in the coming days.
Thank you, Operation Blessing. This is the first time we received so much food and supplies.
Thank you, Operation Blessing, for all the help you extended to us and for encouraging us to put our trust in God. I will not waste the second life He has given me. I don't have broken ribs. I also found out I'm pregnant. Thank God He saved my baby.
Lucille Toulousan, CBN News, Pampanga, Philippines.
Coming up, Rwanda is marking 25 years as a free nation. See what strides the country is making and the healing that is taking place.
CBN presents The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
We're going to talk about some of the incredible promises God has made to His children.
In Pat Robertson's newest teaching, you'll discover the I wills of God. I will rescue him, protect him, answer him, be with him in trouble, deliver him, honor him, satisfy him with long life, show him my salvation, and see amazing stories of God's promises in action.
What I felt was loved and treasured.
God spared my life twice in 3 days.
The good Lord had given me a second chance.
Break free from stress and despair.
The Lord doesn't want you to live in fear, but to know the rewards given to those who love God.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com. The I Wills of God, your path to overcoming fear and anxiety.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Welcome back. This year marks 25 years of liberation for the people of Rwanda who endured a 100-day-long genocide. Studio 5 travels to the Central African country to look at its progress and see how Hollywood is shining a light on its success.
Hi, I'm Patricia Heaton here in Rwanda with World Vision, and you are watching Studio 5.
A shout out from one of America's favorite TV moms. We caught up with the Middle and Everybody Loves Raymond star here at work in Rwanda. How many World Vision trips would you say you've taken?
Rwanda is my fourth. I've been in Zambia, Jordan, and Uganda.
Patricia Heaton makes this visit as Rwanda marks 25 years since liberation from genocide. What keeps you coming back?
Every time I come back, I see more and more people lifted out of poverty, women getting educated. There's just all kinds of work that goes on, and every time I come back, I see the progress. And it's just such an encouragement and a privilege to be able to come here and see where all those dollars are going and see what an impact and a sustainable impact it's having.
You can see the full report from Rwanda this evening on Studio 5. It begins at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel. And you can find more on the issues you care about most at CBNNews.com and can watch CBN News programs anytime on our CBN News Channel. Plus, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here by emailing newswatch@cbn.com or talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.